So very good morning to all. So I welcome you all for this class in the topic of OSI model in computer networks. So all of you have already aware of it. What is meant by computer networks? It's a collection of computers are connected together in order to exchange of informations. So let us have a discussion of the different kinds of layers which is available under the OSI model. And this OSI model we can call it as a open system interconnection. So the open system interconnection, this particular model, it was developed in 1984. And for what purpose they have developed this OSI model? Let us have a discussion on that. So this is exclusively for performing the different kinds of functionalities, different kinds of operations during the data transmission between the sender and receiver. So that is the main reason only we go for developed that OSI model. Okay. So it may be a client or server side. There will be two different kinds of applications they are running. So the end user can interact with the systems by using the software applications only. So that is the OSI model. It will support the 7 different kinds of layers, and each and every layers can have a different kinds of network functions. And the OSI model, it will divide the large level of task into smaller level of subtask, because when we go for doing any kind of packet transmission, if the size of the packet is very large, then it is very difficult to do any kind of process. It may be encryption, decryption, compression, decompression. So while we go for doing all those process, it is very difficult to do. So in such a cases, the OSI model, it will support such a kind of the entire packets into number of smaller segments, then transmitting. And these are all the 7 different kinds of layers behind that. The most of the doings students, they are doing that mistakes. If anyone have asked about the layers, means based on the diagram they are giving the explanation. That's the application layer, presentation layer, session layer. Likewise they may give the term, but actually it should be starts from the physical layer itself. So physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. So each and every layers can have a individual functionalities in terms of transmission or in terms of data processing. And let us have a discussion of individual layers in the fourth upcoming slides. And the first layer is a physical layer. So it is suitable for performing, it is exclusively for handling the data transmissions during the physical medium. So here in this physical medium, the data are transferred is in the form of bits format, and in the data link layer, it can be transferred is in the form of data frames. And we are mainly focusing on the error detection and error correction methodologies, and as well as the encapsulation of data along with the header and trailers in order to perform the error detection and correction. So network layer, if we are seeing that particular term network, so it is exclusively, it is fully responsible for doing the routing the packets from source to destination. So transport layer is responsible for, it's a reliable message delivery from process to process, one process to another process, or end-to-end communication we can achieve. So session layer we are using for establishing the session and performing the data transfer and the session termination process we can do it. So then the next one is a presentation layer. So the presentation layer is responsible for doing the compression, decompression, encryption, decryption process. And the last layer is application layer. So while we go for discussing the diagrammatical representation, there will be a that's uppermost layer is a application layer at both the end, at both sender side and receiver side. So all the process will be carried out from source to destination. So your packet forwarding process and routing process and all the error correction process will be carried out through these layers. And let us have a discussion of each and every layers. The first layer is a physical layer. So in this physical layer, it is the main functionality of this layer is to transfer the individual bits of informations from source to destination is in the form of zeros and ones binary format. As you know that through the transmission mediums, we can transfer only the analog signal format. So whatever the data we are storing in our system, it should be, it's like a is in the form of digital format, zeros and ones. So it should be converted into the analog format with the help of modem. Yeah. So we must know about that. What is the role of modem? I think you may have aware of it. Modem, it will perform the modulation and demodulation function. So Then some of the four different kinds of functions of a physical layers are there. So line configurations, that's the first function. So it will connect the two or more devices physically. So by using the cable, we can connect and we can involve all the data transmission. And then the next one is a data transmission. During the data transmission, there are the communication may be full duplex or half duplex, or it may be a synchronous communication or asynchronous type of communication process. So let us have a discussion of simplex, half duplex, and full duplex kind of communications. So simplex communication, it means that the data are transferred from source to destination, and here the half duplex communications, the each and every devices involved in a data transmission have performed either sending process or receiving process at a time. So if one device is involved in sending the packets, the another device have started to receive the packets, and the vice versa. And if it is a full duplex, means a single device can be act as both a sender and receiver. Both the transmission and reception process will be happen at the same time. That's a full duplex kind of mode of data transmission is happen. Then the next one is a topology. So in the physical layer only, we are mainly focusing on how the data are organized in different kinds of formats. That's based on that only the topology have been derived. There will be different types of topologies are available. Let us have a discussion of in the upcoming videos. Let us discussion about each and every types of topologies available under the networks. Then the signals, how the signals are transmitted, what will be the different types of signals we are using for data transmission, we are going to cover. It has been mainly deals with in this physical layer. Then the next layer, let us discussion about the data link layer. The data link layer main functionality is the error-free data transmission and reliable and efficient communications we can carry out between the more than one devices. Yeah. So then the next one is the data link layer. We can actually while we go for seeing this diagram, you can easily understand that is a T2 and H2. It means that is a 2. It means that the layer 2, and T for trailer and H for header. That is while we go for adding some data bits like zeros and ones binary format, we have included the header along with the trailer field. So by means of including the header and trailer, we can easily, the header field, it consists of the address of both the source and destination. While we are delivering some kind of packets, so based on the header field only, your packet will reach the receiver. So trailer field we are using for error detection and correction purpose. Okay, so this is the symbolic representation of data link layer. Data link layer we have again divided into two types: logical link control layer and medium access control layer. Logical link LLC and MMC. Usually we can call it as a LLC and MAC. So LLC we are using for what purpose? That is the transferring the packets layers of the receivers, that is receiving and support the flow control techniques. But it's a medium access control layers. We are mainly focusing on the link between the logical link LLC as well as the physical layer. So while we are involved in a data transmission, we should care of the establishment of connectivity and involved in the flow control mechanisms. So the data link layer, it mainly deals with those kind of properties. And the next one is the functions of data link layer. So these are all the 5 different kinds of functions are there. That's a framing. As you know that, that's while we are doing the data transmission, it should be converted into the frame format. That is the physical raw bit stream into the corresponding frame format. It should be converted, and the header and trailer field will be added and then involved in a data transmission. Then the next one is the physical addressing. As you know that is a physical address is very, very important. That is a physical address, or it may be a logical addressing is also there. That is by using the IP address, we can easily identify individual machines in the networks. So each and every machines we can identify individually with the help of IP address, and then Ethernet address. That is we can call it as a physical address. That is a through which there is a NIC. We can call it as a network interface card. Okay. So through this we can easily identify the physical address of that MAC address of that particular device. While we go for involving in a data transmission, we need to care about the MAC address as well as the IP address of individual machines. Then the next one is a flow control. So it is responsible for maintaining the data transmission And error control mechanism, CRC methods and retransmission of last packets will be taken over by the error control things. And the next one is the access control techniques. So we are having one data transmission medium that's as a cable, and if more than one users they want to access the medium at the same time, then how the system will react? Definitely it is not possible to allocate the same cable transmission medium for more than one users. So it's a great thing, it's a great it is not possible. So based on the timely manner, that is the each and every physical medium or transmission medium, it will allocate the chance to the individual node to involve in a communication. Then the next one is a data network layer. So network layer main functionality, if anyone have asked about what is the role of network layer, we can say it as it's a selection of best path. That's the main objective. That is the data are transferred is in the form of packet format, and the best path have been selected. There are number of routes to reach the receiver will be there, but we have to choose the best path. So selection of best path is very important, and through which the packet transmission will be carried out. And the next one is the functions. These are all the 4 functions are there: internetworking, addressing, routing, and packetizing. Okay. Then transport layer. So transport layer main function, end-to-end reliable communication. If anyone have asked about what is the role of transport layer in OSI model, at first we can give a the definition, then after that we can explain some other additional points. So it will give an additional credit for us for our points. So the main responsibility of transport layer is, while we go for accessing the data through the networking, so it may be travel through the different kinds of ways. So at the receiver side, we are receiving the data in an unordered format. It is not in the order form, because the packets is divided into smaller segments and transmitted through the various path. So it will reach the receiver at a different time period. So the order of messages may be vary. So while we go for doing the reassembly process, so there is a necessary to focus on the other things. That is like we need to remove the duplications of records, or these are all the some kind of things we need to do. So the transport layer will take care all those properties. That is a reliability. So the transport layer, it will support the protocols, the TCP and UDP. So TCP protocol, we can call it as a transmission control protocol. It is mainly used for establishing the connection and doing the data transmission, and the data termination process will be carried out. That is a TCP protocol. And the reordering process and the segmentation, splitting the segment, creation of segments, and do the transmission through the various routes will be carried out by the TCP. So TCP protocol, we are sending the data and we are getting the acknowledgement or no acknowledgement. But in the UDP protocol, it's a connectionless protocol, because we are sending the data, but there is no guarantee for delivering the packets. So that is your sender will not wait for acknowledgement signal from the receiver. Yeah, it will always started to send the data. It will not wait for the data to send. So that is the user datagram protocol. Now these are all the some kind of transport layer functionalities: the service point addressing, segmentation and reassembly process, and connection control, flow control, error control. So as we have already seen, the error control, which is also supported by the data link layer. But in addition to that, transport layer is also mainly focusing on transport layer protocols. It will support such a kind of error control mechanism and flow control mechanisms. So segmentation process we have carried out at the center side, and the receiver side we are performing the reassembly process. Then the next, let us discuss about the session layer. So session layer, as you know, that session means that's a particular time period. That's that during the data transmission we can take it as a particular session. So here, establish, maintain, and synchronize the interaction between the communication devices. What is meant by synchronization? Do you have any answer on that? Synchronization, it means that is if I am sending the data, the receiver is to be ready in a position to receive my answer. Okay, so that is a synchronization. That is the sending and receiving process will be carried out at the right time period. That is a synchronization. So for that purpose, as we have already discussed earlier, That is a half duplex, full duplex mode of communication. The synchronous mode and asynchronous mode of communication is also there. So synchronous mode of communication, it mainly deals with the initially it will send the start bit and stop bit. Then after that it will wait for some particular time. Then start bit. Then after that the data regular packet transmission. Then after the completion of data transmission, it will send the stop packet. So that's from start and stop packets we can easily identify this is the size of the data bits or otherwise packets. Yeah, that is a synchronization process. So these are all the two functions of session layer. One is the dialog control and the next one is the synchronization. So as we have already discussed earlier, that is a synchronization. It will also include the checkpoints. So what is the purpose of checkpoints? We should know. So someone may ask that in between the sender and receiver, there will be a number of checkpoints we can fix it. So instead of verifying that your data is successfully received by the receiver at the end, at the middle level itself, we can check whether the data have been received as like what we have sent from the sender. So first checkpoints it will check. If there is no loss, then it will move on to the next checkpoints. Then checkpoint 2, once again we are checking. So likewise the process will continue. Yeah, so this is the actual process we have carried out, and based on which we can do all the data transmission. So the presentation layer, we are performing the translation, encryption and decryption of data, and based on which the data transmission will be successfully carried out. So the encryption process, encryption, decryption, and these are all the things will be carried out. And application layer mainly deals with the various protocols like TCP, like FTP protocol, SMTP, SNTP. These are all the protocols transmitted. And network transparency and resource allocations will be handled by the application layer, and network services to the end users. So these are all the various kind of process will be carried out by the network application layer. Thank you. I hope everyone can understand the different layers functionalities. And once again, you can go through this video if you have any kind of doubts, or you can approach me through comments or anything. Thank you.